Welcome to Rochester Business Connections, powered by Balbert Marketing, LLC, where I get the chance to chat with Rochester, New York's very best business owners, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders. I am your host, Ben Albert. Don't forget to subscribe, and remember, we don't do advertisements. My fee for this show is simple. If you gain value from the episode, personally share with a friend and explain your favorite part. Let's get started. Welcome to Rochester Business Connections. How we doing today? We've got like a 75-degree day coming in.
I know. I wish we could do this outside today, but here we are. But I think it's going to be good. But thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're in the middle of November. It's been 70 degrees. I don't know what to say about that, but I'm just super grateful for the nice weather. I'm happy to have you on. Josh Thurston is ultimately an independent insurance agent, the Brighton-Pittsford agency, right?
That's right, yeah.
Give us a bird's eye view. To my understanding, you aren't locked down to like a single product. You have the ability to really take care of your clients and do exactly what they need. Give us a bird's eye view of, what kind of insurance you help with, and just a little bit about your role there.
Yeah, so we mainly focus on what's called the property and casualty side of the business. So there's really property and casualty and life, accident, and health. Those are the two common forms of insurance in the world that I work in. But what I do is I work with people who need to insure their car, insure their home, insure their small business, and a few other things. But those are the main pieces of my business. And what I do is I make sure that they have the proper coverage. If they're to get into an accident, have a claim brought against them, have a lawsuit brought against them. At the end of the day, they want to be sure that they are covered properly. So the way that I do that is, I'm sure everybody's familiar with State Farm, Allstate, Geico. They're known as captive agencies. They only work with one provider. If you get a quote from State Farm, you're only going to see the State Farm product. Same with Allstate, same with Geico, all those guys. What I do is I'm a broker. I work with multiple companies. I don't have any specific loyalty to one over another. And that allows me to be more of an advisor than a salesperson. It allows me to say, well, I think this is best due to the amount of coverage that, ABC company is getting you over XYZ company. And by the way, they're more competitive. So it allows me to have more of an advisory role in my client's life, rather than saying, sign up today with whoever. And I think it's a net win for myself and my customers. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, definitely a net win. And there's no incentive to set them up with the wrong thing, because you have the opportunity to be advisory and figure out exactly what's right for them. So is there a perfect kind of client? If you were to get a phone call today and say, hey, I was talking to Ben, I'm a blank and I'm looking for blank. Is there a perfect client, or pretty much help anybody across the board?
We can work with a lot of people. I would say the perfect client for me is really not so much what they have, but who they are. I want to work with somebody who's really interested in building a relationship, and a local relationship at that. Somebody who's interested in picking up the phone and talking to the same person and not getting rerouted to a call center where they'll never talk to the same person twice. Somebody who values expert opinion in the area that I specialize in. So that's really what I'm looking for.
Perfect. And you're the specialist now. 10 years ago, you were younger, figuring out what you were going to do for work. What brought you into insurance?
So I graduated from college at Roberts Wesleyan, local college, shout out. Loved that school. At the time, believe it or not, I was very interested in the language. So I had studied abroad in Spain for about 6 months and really thought I was going to get my master's and PhD in linguistics
Oh,
and do that. But then when I looked at it on paper and said, okay, how much of this is really a hobby and how much of this is something I can really do as a profession? Looking at things like school debt, how much I actually wanted to teach rather than just learn about this stuff. And I took a step back and I had to make a fork in the road assessment. Do I want to do this or do I want to find something else that I'm talented at and fulfills me? And that year, I got more into exploring business and the consultative sales side of things. And I really felt satisfied doing that. It was one of those things that um, the thing that brings me joy in that process is decluttering and demystifying a lot of the complicated areas around a subject and just driving to the heart of it and saying, okay, what do you want here? Let me help you get what you want. And that's what I ended up doing, and I'm happy about that.
that's great. I mean, what I'm hearing is you're making the complex simple to kind of get to the root need. And
Yeah.
props to that. First off, yeah, shout out to Rochester, Robert Wesleyan College. But hats off to the fact you were able to see that you were kind of going down the field of something that maybe wasn't a long-term investment in your career and was smart enough to make that call.
Yeah.
A lot of people miss that. I think it's never too late to start, but congratulations on figuring out young.
Yeah.
Um,
Thanks.
to give more shout outs to Rochester. Are you a native from here in Rochester? Tell me a little bit about your history here.
Yeah. So I actually grew up in Pennsylvania, just like 2 miles south of the New York border. So I was looking for colleges. I kind of stumbled upon Roberts Wesleyan and I was like, this looks like a good school. We'll see where that goes. And fell in love with the area and just really wanted to stay up here because if any of your listeners are from small towns, they know you struggle to find things to do in a small town. You can drive around and that's about it. Pretty much. Um, so I'm an extroverted person. I love people. I love talking with people. And I just built such deep friendships and relationships up in Rochester. So I was like, I think this is where I'm supposed to be.
Love it, love it. And now you're here. What do you like to? Obviously, coronavirus has shook things up, but regardless, what do you like to do around Rochester? Where would we find you on a day off?
On a day off, well, you'd probably find me taking a run because I've gotten more into running recently. My goal is to run a 5K by Thanksgiving and a 10K by Christmas. So you'd probably find me training for that. You'd probably also find me getting my recovery meal at Dogtown because I love Dogtown. I love garbage plates. I know it's such a like a kind of a stereotypical Rochester thing, but um, I love getting a garbage plate, even though it makes me feel like crap afterwards.
Typical Rochester staple. And you were saying you're from Pennsylvania. I was in Philadelphia recently, and
Yeah,
I got cheesesteak.
yeah,
It's sometimes you got to go for what's popular in the area. Um,
absolutely.
so in terms of running, I'm just curious. Are you just running around your residence, or is there like good spots to go and take a long run?
Yeah, so I live right next to Highland Park, so that's a great spot for me. Um, trying to get my mileage up, trying to make sure that I'm recovering properly. But yeah, it's been an enjoyable process.
Love it. Love it. I want to dig a little bit deeper. I'm sure you've noticed I've got like an entire library of books behind me here.
Yeah.
If someone's listening to the audio and not just the video, I've got a green screen background in all of these. But I'm surrounded by books, and I'm wondering if there's any books on insurance, finance, or just books that have really helped you, that you would recommend somebody, any books to get started with that you learned a lot from?
I would say books on insurance specifically, I think are few and far between. I haven't really run into any. Most of my knowledge base comes from the training I've received at my agency and from company reps coming in and saying, hey, this is really what you should focus on. We're specializing in this, check this out. So, in terms of, kind of pleasure reading on insurance, I can't really recommend anything. I'll let you know after the fact if I
Sure.
find anything. Um, I think one of the things about finance is really developing. I think most people say that it's 20% knowledge and 80% psychology. Some of the people that I've really invested my time in, um, just looking at finances and how to process that. Two of the ones that come to mind are Dave Ramsey. He has some pretty stringent approaches to that. I wouldn't take it all as gospel, but I think he does have a few ways of processing that. And another one is Tony Robbins for his way of kind of processing how to use money and how to use your resources, and not only make more money for yourself, but focus on contribution and how that can impact the community and your world.
Yeah, I love it. I'm not an expert on either of those guys, but it seems like Ramsey is um, kind of conservative about what he teaches,
Yeah,
stringent, as you said. And then Tony Robbins is incredible at the motivational side of things. Because at the end
yeah,
of the day, we want to get excited about our personal finance. We want to get excited about putting us in a position to be better in the future. So I think that's an important thing. What in terms of just finance and budgeting, I'm curious. Right now I'm looking at how can I not reduce budget but be more efficient with what I do. And I'm curious if there's any pieces of technology, apps, things you've done, purchases you've made in the past 6 months to a year that maybe it was kind of cheap, but it was super beneficial and it really helps you in your business. Does anything come to mind there?
well, the first thing that came to mind, one of the things that's revolutionized my personal finance is just having the ability to track it and kind of measure and quantify that on a daily basis. And one of the apps that I've used for the better part of 10 years has been an app called Mint. And it's, pretty popular Intuit product. But that just allows you to be honest with yourself and have everything in front of you, making sure that you're not going over budget in this area. It'll give you an alert and says, hey, you're $5 over in, restaurants this month. Okay, good. Probably Dogtown, right?
Exactly.
But in terms of the past 6 months to a year, I'm trying to think. Honestly, it's really, and you might hear this quite a bit, but it's the cheap stuff that really makes the difference. A stack of sticky notes, just constantly making sure that you're organized, constantly making sure that you're on top of things, and I think that's the key
Right.
with that. So,
well, and that's not even a 6 month to a year thing. That's an ongoing, forever kind of thing. If you can get organized and have a good system, you just continue that ongoing.
Yeah.
And it seems like you're an ongoing learner. First getting into linguistics and language and then pivoting. Well, is there anything that you're most interested in right now? Any just focuses? I guess, of course, you said the running, you're training for a marathon. Are you
Yeah.
studying anything new recently? Anything new to the industry, maybe?
In terms of insurance?
In terms of anything. But
Okay.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, I always gravitate toward learning, and kind of I think the process of discovery is huge for our personal development. I would say that, yeah, I'm trying to make sure that for my running, that I'm not overtraining, and kind of just listening more to my body, and making sure that if I need to take a day, I know when to take a day, because I'm to the point where, I'm, 3 weeks, month in, and I'm looking forward to it every day. But making sure that I am taking time and knowing when to take my foot off the gas. And I think that's been a learning process for me, because I tend to be a pretty extreme personality. I'm all in or I'm all out, and learning to walk the tightrope of life has always been a challenge for me. So I think it's a good lesson there. Yeah. So
I think it's a great lesson. Sometimes you have to take your foot off the gas. What's the point in training if you end up hurting yourself? Then you can't
exactly.
actually complete the competition.
Exactly.
Josh, I could talk to you all day, but for sake of time, let's move over to the rapid fire round, where we just
Let's
ask
do it.
short, easy questions where the listeners can just get to know you a little bit better.
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Let's get it started with coffee or tea,
It's got to be coffee.
beer or wine.
Beer.
Do you have a favorite season of the year?
I would have to say fall. It's honestly been this fall has been amazing. But like we were saying with the warm weather, I actually went to Letchworth for the first time, believe it or
Yeah,
not.
love it.
A little bit of a drive, but man, it was gorgeous. It was
Yeah,
gorgeous.
it's amazing there. It really is. Social media platform, if people want to follow you online, well, what's your favorite social?
Social media platform has got to be Instagram. I think by far, they have they're just on top right now. They're leading the way. I think Facebook has kind of fallen by the wayside, become a little bit oversaturated.
Hmm.
But yeah, and if you don't see this video, maybe it'll be scratching your head, but I'm at Super Curl 7. I have really curly hair. That's why that's the name.
Super Curl 7. You got it. All right, so you're out on a run. Are you listening to a podcast, a radio show kind of thing, or are you listening to music?
It really depends. Sometimes I'll get some good beats going. Other times I'll be listening to. A big fan of the Tim Ferriss podcast. Big fan of Joe Rogan podcast. Those are the two that I gravitate toward, and then I've got some others that I mix in there. But yeah, that's what I'm doing to keep my mind off how hard I'm breathing.
Yeah, and both great podcasts. I can't compete. Those guys are heavy hitters in just the industry of knowledge. They both have just so much positive feedback to give the world. I got a lot of great feedback from you. I had fun chatting with you. Let's get everybody in touch so they can find you on Instagram. Is there, any best ways to form a professional relationship with you? Where should they look for you?
Yeah, so LinkedIn is a great way to do that. If you just want to reach out and say, "Hey, I heard you on Ben's podcast. Want to, see if we can do anything to, move this forward." I would be more than happy to connect with you there. I usually leave, Facebook and Instagram for more personal sort of stuff, but LinkedIn is a great way to do that. So
Cool. And what's the website for the firm you work for? Are you technically an independent? How does that work?
So yeah, I am an employee of the agency, but basically, it's kind of weird. So I'm an employee, but I'm also kind of an independent contractor. So the website's name is Brighton-Pittsford and you can find more about us there. But yeah, if you'd like to connect one-on-one, we can do that as well.
Love it. Everybody follow up with Josh. He's clearly great at what he does, and I appreciate you coming on and chatting with me today. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was great. Thanks for having me on, Ben. This was great.
Thanks for listening to Rochester Business Connections. Don't forget to share this, rate, and comment on your favorite platform. You can also email me, ben@balbertmarketing.com. Let's connect soon. Until then, keep thriving, everyone.